Hey, what's up everybody? Welcome to the video. Today we're going to get started on the SH Figuarts Shinkoucchou Seihou Kamen IXA Burst and Save mode. Now, the reason why I said "and" is because technically all he has to do is a head swap and it's either mode. But that's the classification, so I want to make sure I put that in there. But yeah, either way, this guy's dope. If you're looking for a Tech Knight Templar design, this is definitely 1000% going to be for you. It's going to be something you very much want, and there's nothing you can do about it. But also, if you've watched Kiva, this is definitely for you because you already know what you want with this guy. He's great. Now, the first figure of this came out 10 years ago. So, you know you waited a long time for this, and I really do hope that you enjoy it because there's a lot of IXA fans out there. You guys deserve it, trust me. Now, let's get started. Look-wise, I'm going to go outright and say this guy was done phenomenally. And the reason why I say that is because when you look at his original one, which by 2010 standards is honestly outright fantastic in terms of what you were getting 10 years ago for 25, 30 bucks. And then you have this guy now, which is a technological advancement in how far we've come in toys. Everything about this guy screams like they want it to be as screen accurate as possible, while also including all the articulation, which I think has it all. So I'm very happy with it. So let's get started. Now I'm going to do things a little differently today. I'm actually going to start off by comparing him to his previous incarnation. Now, this figure was what, 30 bucks 10 years ago? And even by standards then, it was actually pretty good. You actually got a ton of articulation and movement, but it wasn't screen accurate. We were just happy to get these kind of figures, especially because this actually came out close to when the show was airing, which is even crazier, right? And then you have this guy here. Outside of the gold being different, because this gold is actually a little bit more accurate, this came out really fantastic. Like, you can't remove the knuckle the way you want to, like it's a part swap and things like that. And that's cool because we still kind of have that. But then you have stuff like, as you can see the wrist here, it doesn't have the line webbing. See how it just comes out? What they did was actually pretty cool on this one. And it's actually really there as an actual feature. That's real wiring there. So I really like the addition to detail that they have on this guy. Now, we're going to talk about the look and the articulation. Look-wise, I really like the gold. I really do. But I like the gold because it actually is just a separator between the whites and the blues. It really has a fantastic technological design, especially for the time that it's supposed to be developed between 1986 and 2009. So it's really something that I enjoy. Now, in terms of our articulation, we're only going to be limited really in the head sculpt with the helmet. So as you can see right here, we have our outward tempered like design for a helmet. It will hinder you when you're trying to look up. As you can see, you won't be able to look up as much, but looking down, it's going to be all right. And that's mostly because the visor helps you look down as well too. You can still tilt left and right, so you can get a lot of range there. Our shoulders are attached to the arms, or at least our shoulder pads are. We have a 360 rotation ball joint, which replicates a flexible movement like a butterfly joint that flexes all the way around. We can lift our arms up with no problem. As you can see, the pads are there. They kind of don't obstruct the movement. But just to make sure, let's push up a little further. Doesn't even pop out at all. And everyone knows I'm a ham hand, as you guys all say. So it doesn't pop off, which is fantastic. You have bicep. We have bicep swivel, and mine's is really tight. So we do have the bicep swivel, and mine's being as tight as it is. We also have a forearm switch that allows you to get extra movement going in and out there with the forearm, as well as a double joint. So you actually have extra movement, just like Kamen Rider O's that you had previously. We do have wrist articulation, but because they went with the actual design here, you have to separate it here because you can actually pull it out long enough. As you can see, it extends out. That allows you to replicate the movement with the actual hand. Now, I did it with the hand off. Now, as you can see, the ball joint here rotates around. Let's pop that back on and see how it works with the actual plate on. And as you can see, oop, no, it doesn't. Wait. Let's double check. It rotates outward. And yes, it does rotate inward. I just did it a little too fast. But as you can see here, you still get that movement there. And it folds right back in to look nice and neat in place. As far as our articulation here in the waist, we can actually tilt side to side. It does not hurt the fusils at the side. And for some reason, nope. Yep, wanted to make sure. There's no paint rubbing as of yet on mine. So we can have movement going backwards. We have movement for the ab crunch going forwards. As you can see here, getting it really nice. And we can still tilt side to side. So getting that that ab crunch won't be a problem as well either. It does look a little stuffy in the middle, but that's where the most thing happens in Kamen Rider, so you can't really fault it for that. The fusils can rotate and rock. And our IXA driver does come out the way it's supposed to. There are two parts here. One is cut deeper because there's one groove here, but the knuckle actually, does it separate? I remember it separate. There we go. The knuckle does separate from it. So this is how you're supposed to originally henshin. There's also another one for when the knuckle combines, and I'll show you that in a second. But the knuckle does separate, which is also pretty cool. Let's plug that back in. Oh, wait, did I do it? There we go. Now, also, the little side skirts here do flap up to allow for articulation going outward and articulation going forward. We are double jointed as well. We do have thigh swivel. Now, going inward with our thigh swivel is a little difficult because we have our skirt guards here. So you have to be careful. They do rotate out a little bit with that thigh swivel to help you out, but not too much, so be careful. We can also rotate all the way inward. Ankle pivot is just like O's. Look at that ankle pivot. Like, he can fold to a point where it's damn near flat. So, or she. For those of you that have not watched Kiva, I'm sorry for the small spoiler, but IXA can technically be anyone who uses the system properly, male or female, and there are female IXAs during the show. So now posing this guy up, or gal. Oh, by the way, there is toe pivot before I missed that. So posing up IXA will be a fantastic delight because IXA also takes on the user's fighting style. So depending on what you want to do and how you want to do it, I'm going to get IXA nicely posed up, some semi-boxing posing, as you can see here. But let's say you want to change that up. You want to take a more defensive stance. You can. If you want to talk about rider kicks, let's see how we actually file that out. Yeah, IXA's looking pretty good in terms of rider kicks. I don't see any issues with this, but just in case, let's see how he does, or she, with a double drop kick. The Kuga style drop kick from Amazing Mighty. No problems. Let's see with our guard up. Yeah, we get a lot of good poses. Even balancing. Let's check out the balancing. Let's try to get a high jump kick. Let's get the skirt to come down a little bit and connect over. Let's get a standing side kick going. And because we have really good ankle pivot, I really want to test this out. We might have too good of an ankle pivot that may not allow the balancing, but I was wrong. I was wrong almost right away. So there we are with a good standing side kick, looking fantastic. Now, we can talk about our other accessories by jumping in now that I've covered a bunch of this stuff. And with the accessories, it gets a little exciting. So let's get to that. Let me pose him up. Make IXA look good. And let's get started, guys. All right, on to accessories, like I said. Now, IXA comes with pretty much all of the IXA things that you want. Now, you will get an alternate head for burst mode. This will allow you to enter the extra mode where the output on IXA increases by 60%, give you that extra oomph. Yeah, get them guts, man, get them guts. So there we are. If you want to see how this looks, let's pop this head off real quickly. Then we'll pop on the burst mode head. And while it's the same character, it almost gives IXA a completely different feel. Like it's really ready to like give you the hands. So IXA in this mode definitely looks utterly fantastic as well with that extra burst with that red eyes. It's a nice compliment to what's going on already. I really do enjoy that. Next up, we get IXA's double weapon or dual weapon, whatever, dual welding weapon. Nah, you don't do weld this weapon, but yeah. So this is a gun sword. IXA comes ready to give you the Parliament hands. You can see the blaster blade, the blaster part right here. And this is it in sword mode, actually. Now, to part swap this out into the gun, what you do is you remove the top by wiggling it out ever so gently. You're going to remove the base. And in the show, the blade actually reduces down into it and drops down. So it's almost like giving him an extended clip because the bullets are in the actual sword magazine. So let's say this drops down. So the red blade drops in and then this drops down in between. Technically, yes, this would fit. So they've actually made it accurate to the way it is. The true 1:1 scale. Drops down and through. There is a piece on the top that allows it to be covered up. That's the way it's supposed to be. Oop, got it the wrong way. And here you have it in gun mode. Can't wait to add some effects to this. I do want to test out one thing. I want to see if a Mezco burst effects actually work in this. And technically it does. It just doesn't extend further down. That would have been nice to see. So maybe I can make this work. So then we have the weapon all covered. Next up, we're going to talk about the IXA driver, because you actually get a part swap for that for when you actually use the knuckle part. As you can see here, this part is different than this one here because of the way it connects. So they give you the actual proper one for when you knuckle dust somebody. So basically it becomes a knuckle duster that pretty much blows the bad guys away. And this is one of the primary finishers for IXA. It's a very nice weapon. I actually like the way it's used in the show as well too. Also, on our sides, we have the fusils. These are fake fusils for IXA because you can't use the ones that Kiva uses in the show. But what's really cool is they actually included a function for it to be used in his actual belt. So I'm actually going to take one of the fake fusils and we're going to take the belt. So here we are with the extra belt component. And I don't know if you guys are going to be able to see this properly. Let's try to get enough light on it to focus. But you actually can enter the fusil into the driver to be used. So I think that's really dope that the gimmick is completely there. Like it's not one of those things where you can't use it. The gimmick is completely there. All the components are there. Shrunk down from basically a 1:1 scale complete selection belt or a DX belt, depending on, you know, what you use. Now, you also get hands. Obviously, if you want to give hands, you got to get hands. These are the hands for holding the gun sword, whether it's left or right. As you can see, it fits right around. You'll get 2 of these. You will get hands for putting your hands on the driver. And this is a hand for when you want to look like you're gripping it. As you can see here, it fits right. Oh, focus. Sorry about that. As you can see, that hand right down there fits right on, is actually holding in right there. You'll get 2 of those left and right, but mostly you're going to use it for this hand. Then you'll get open, relax hands. Or when you want to walk and look cool like IXA. And then you'll get a dedicated hand for holding the driver and duster knuckle. Ooh, there we go. Last but not least, you are going to get an unmasked head. Now, it's very rare you get unmasked head for writers, but this guy was very, very popular. And he's also played another Kamen Rider in a different show, which is Kamen Rider Build. Now, I'm going to show you what it looks like on IXA. Then I'm going to show you what it looks like as Kamen Rider Grease. So here he is with IXA. He was also Dark Kiva. So that's another one. So here he is with our head sculpt on IXA, which actually looks really good. Looks like a guy who is actually in a suit of armor, which makes sense. So this is a good look. While the sculpt itself is a little soft, I think under some good lighting, he'll look pretty good. It's a little soft, but yeah, I think overall it does look pretty good. Now, if we pop this sculpt off, let's put back on the burst mode head, right? Let's talk about how he looks on Kamen Rider Grease. Now, you're gonna have to place it so that the hair is placed within the collar, and then place it down on the ball peg. Make sure it matches up. I have an extended SHF ball peg hair on there, so you may need to do that. But here on Kamen Rider Grease, it looks equally as good. I really do like the way that this worked out. Almost like they kept it in mind for the fact that people very much enjoyed him in Kamen Rider Build. This is really dope. I really like this a lot. So, I'll be doing a couple pictures with Grease as well, too. But all in all, I've been outlandishly enjoying IXA just straight out of the box. It's been a blast. Hoping you guys really enjoy these pictures at the end. Now, I'm going to take a small break. I'm going to gather up what I need for size comparisons. Then we'll get started. All right, guys. All right, size comparison times. First things first, let's compare it to the old Dark Kiva and the new regular Kiva from Shinkoucchou Seihou. the renewal. So here we are with old Dark Kiva, which at some point he becomes. And Dark Kiva is actually pretty big because as you can see, it actually sized it up pretty well with him. This toy is what, 11 years old now, and it still holds up pretty well with other figures, which is pretty cool. But I can't wait for a renewal. I'm pretty sure it's gonna blow this one out of the water. Here he is with the protagonist of the show, Kiva. And these two actually look really well together. I think those two will make a dynamic duo. It's gonna be really worth seeing. Not just for my photos, but everybody that's excited to actually get these two, right? Next up, let's compare it with a normal SHF. Earlier we had Grease. Today we have Assault Wolf. So yeah, those two look really good. Here we are with a Lightning Collection Power Rangers in Space Red Ranger. So the renewals proportion-wise actually look pretty decent with a bunch of other guys, including domestics. They're a little smaller, but proportion-wise they do look really good. Let's remove these two guys. Next up, we have a G.I. Joe Storm Shadow. And then we have an Articulated Icons Ninja. And IXA doesn't look that bad with these guys. Again, just shorter, but he doesn't look that bad overall with these guys proportion-wise. And then we have 1000 Toys, Don Le Million. And then we have a Marvel Legends Spider-Man. And as you know, the Spider-Man is the retro series, but he's still pretty much bigger than most stuff. Most domestic stuff is always going to be bigger than SHF, as you can see here. Next up, we're going to do, let's have some fun. We're going to do our Storm Collectible Skeleton. And as you can see, he's gigantic. And then we have a Mythic Legions werewolf. And this is not actually a real werewolf. It is a custom. It's a kit bash body that I made, but it is painted by Paul's Customs. And I think 3D Dan's design for the werewolf, or no, I think Paul painted it. And 3D Designs actually made the werewolf head. So yeah, I'd definitely like to see IXA fight vampires and werewolves. I really like that. And last but not least, just to throw him in for fun, here is a Mezco Me on a Gomez body. Just so you can see what it's like next to some Mezco stuff. So yeah, this has been utterly fantastic to review and utterly fun because it's been really cool to talk about Kamen Rider. I'm really glad to see more people are enjoying it, and it's really cool. So I hope you guys enjoyed. Hope you found this informative. And most of all, guys, hope you be good, do good, drink your water. Later.